Everybody, how y'all doing? Are y'all doing all right? Today I'm going to be reading through Twitch's Terms of Service, last modified March 26th of 2024, which is this year. So here we go. Starting with the introduction, your agreement to these terms of service. Please read the terms of service carefully. This is a binding contract. Welcome to the services operated by Twitch Interactive Inc., collectively with its affiliates, Twitch or We, consisting of the website available at https://www.twitch.tv and its network of websites, software applications, and any other products or services offered by Twitch, the Twitch services. Other services offered by Twitch may be subject to separate terms. Okay. When using the Twitch services, you will be subject to Twitch's community guidelines and additional guidelines or rules that are posted on the Twitch services made available to you or disclosed to you in connection with specific services and features you may be offered. Twitch may also offer certain paid services, which are subject to the Twitch terms of sale, as well as any additional terms or conditions that are disclosed to you in connection with such services. All such terms and guidelines, are incorporated into these terms of service by reference. The terms of service apply whether you are a user that registers an account with the Twitch services or an unregistered user. You agree that by clicking sign up or otherwise registering, downloading, accessing, or using the Twitch services, you are entering into a legally binding agreement between you and Twitch regarding your use of the Twitch services. You acknowledge that you have read, understood, and agreed to be bound by these terms of service. If you do not agree to these terms of service, do not access or otherwise use any of the Twitch services. When using Twitch or opening an account with Twitch on behalf of a company, entity, or organization, collectively subscribing organization, you represent and warrant that you, are an authorized representative of that subscribing organization with the authority to bind that organization to these terms of service and grant the licenses set forth herein. And 2, agree to these terms of service on behalf of such subscribing organization. Number 2, use of Twitch by minors and blocked persons. The Twitch services are not available to persons under the age of 13. If you are between the ages of 13 and the age of legal majority in your jurisdiction of residence, you may only use the Twitch services under the supervision of a parent or legal guardian who agrees to be bound by these terms of service. The Twitch services are also not available to any users previously removed from the Twitch services by Twitch or to any persons barred from receiving them under the laws of the United States, such as its export and re-export restrictions and regulations, or applicable laws in any other jurisdiction. By downloading, installing, or otherwise using the Twitch services, you represent that you are at least 13 years of age, that your parent or legal guardian agrees to be bound by these terms of service. If you are between 13 and the age of legal majority in your jurisdiction of residence, and that you have not been previously removed from and are not prohibited from receiving the Twitch services. Privacy notice. Your privacy is important to Twitch. Please see our privacy notice for information relating to how we collect, use, and disclose your personal information and our privacy choices on how you can manage your online privacy when you use the Twitch services. Okay, I'm going to briefly summarize the first two, or the first few. Number 1 is there's some minor differences just between like the Twitch so there's the Twitch services, which are the different services that they offer on their platform, and each one may have its own set of guidelines, but there's also the community guidelines, which sort of seem to apply to everything. And bottom line, there's guidelines and there's terms to each service on this platform. Whether or not you are a registered user, by accessing or using the Twitch services really in any type of way, registered, download, etc. If you use Twitch, you are agreeing to be bound by a legal contract with Twitch services. So if you're on the site, you're using it, and you're bound by these legal terms. For the second part, it's basically just you can't be under 13 and be a part of Twitch unless you have legal guardian or parent supervision. And you also can't use Twitch services if you've ever been blocked from using Twitch, either by law. And that by using those services, you are basically saying affirmatively that you are not under 13, or if you are, that you have a parent or legal guardian who says it's okay, or that you haven't been barred before. And then the privacy notice is basically just points you to the privacy policy, or the privacy notice for. Yes, their privacy policy, which is also a different privacy notice and also privacy choices. On to number 4, account and password. In order to open an account, you will be asked to provide us with certain information such as an account name and password. You are solely responsible for maintaining the confidentiality of your account, your password, and for restricting access to your computer. If you permit others to use your account credentials, you agree to these terms of service on behalf of all other persons who use the services under your account or password, and you are responsible for all activities that occur under your account or password. Please make sure the information you provide to Twitch upon registration and at all times is true, accurate, current, and complete to the best of your knowledge. Unless expressly permitted in writing by Twitch, you may not sell, rent, lease, transfer, share, or provide access to your account to anyone, including without limitation, charging anyone for access to administrative rights on your account. Twitch reserves all available legal rights and remedies to prevent unauthorized use of the Twitch services, including but not limited to technological barriers, IP mapping, and in serious cases, directly contacting your internet service provider regarding such unauthorized use. So that's part A about your account and password, which basically says you got to keep your account and your password private as best you can. But anyone you allow to use your account or to know and use your password is basically bound by these same terms too. So just because you have an account, but you let a friend of yours play, and then they do something shady that gets you blocked or banned legally or illegally, well, that still applies to you because they agreed to be bound by those terms when they played under your account. Third-party accounts, Part B. Twitch may permit you to register for and log on to the Twitch services via certain third-party services. Third parties' collection, use, and disclosure of your information will be subject to that third party service's privacy notice. Further information about how Twitch collects, uses, and discloses your personal information when you link your Twitch account with your account on any third-party service can be found in our privacy notice. So basically, you might be able to log into Twitch on a third-party service. Could even just be like could be, a social media account that you're linking to Twitch, which seems to mean, as best as I can tell, that all they're saying is when it comes to it's like sort of secondary accounts, they will collect information from your account differently than the way that Twitch will. And so look at their privacy notice or their privacy policy to understand that. So so that finishes account. Now, number 5, use of devices and services. Access to the Twitch services may require the use of your personal computer or mobile device, as well as communications with or use of space on such devices. You are responsible for any internet connection or mobile fees and charges from third parties that you incur when accessing the Twitch services. Which is to say, Twitch doesn't provide internet connection or mobile internet, but those are things that you kind of need to use to use Twitch. So yeah, those you pay for those charges on your own. They're not responsible for that. Modification of these terms of service. Number 6. Twitch may amend any of the terms of these terms of service by posting the amending terms and updating the last modified date above. Your continued use of the Twitch services after the effective date of the revised terms of service constitutes your acceptance of the terms. For residents of the EU or the European Economic Area, the United Kingdom, or Switzerland, who are acting as a consumer, i.e. for a purpose which can be regarded as being outside your trade, craft, or possession, consumer, and have registered a Twitch account, Twitch will provide reasonable prior notice of amendments to these terms of service. To the extent permitted by applicable law, not canceling your agreement to use the Twitch services under these terms of service before the effective date will be deemed your consent to the amended terms. While required by applicable law, Twitch will ask for your consent to the amended terms. That's an interesting one. It still seems pretty boilerplate language, but just the end there. To the extent permitted by applicable law, not canceling your agreement to use the Twitch services under these terms of service before the effective date. Oh, before the effective date. Okay, I was assuming the amended date. So, yeah, as long if they amend the terms, they have to update the website with when these amended terms are to come into effect, or at least they say that they'll reasonably try to notice you. They wouldn't try to blindside you. That's the suggestion. Although we have seen from Adobe recently an example where the amendment of the terms had there was a problem with Adobe with it. It seems like, and I unfortunately haven't done the research on this, so I will have to see if I can link. I'll link to Pirate Software's Adobe video, or perhaps Asmongold's Adobe video. There's many out there on YouTube, but the terms were changed such that in a negative way to Adobe users, and so many Adobe users wanted to cancel their terms, or cancel the contract, and use a different platform. But in order to cancel, they had to log on to their account, and once they logged into their account, that was deemed to be like consenting to the amended terms that second. And so they were unable to close the account without first agreeing to the terms. And the moment they agreed to the terms, the negative impact on their accounts was like immediate. Basically, it gave Adobe access to all their. I need to quote that, but just something to note. This portion right here is what I'm speaking on. To the extent permitted by applicable law, not canceling your agreement to use the Twitch services under these terms before the effective date will be deemed your consent to the amended terms. But the effective date is I suppose partly the question here that they don't seem to make quite explicit, because they say that Twitch, let me get this, excuse me, there we go, Twitch may amend any of these terms by posting the amended terms and updating the last modified date. And because they do say the last modified date, perhaps the effective date is actually in the bottom here. Give me a second. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom. Don't let your eyes hurt. Let's see. I'm not seeing an effective date. So maybe no effective date, but just something we will keep in mind. Continuing. License. Ooh, this is a big one, always a big one. And you can always tell that the bigger ones are the longer sections. The important sections tend to be the longer ones. In contracts, that's because if there's more complexity there, you usually need more words to say everything you need to say. So, the Twitch services are owned and operated by Twitch. Unless otherwise indicated, all content, information, and other materials on the Twitch services, excluding user content set out in Section 8 below, including, without limitation, Twitch's trademarks and logos, the visual interfaces, graphics, designs, compilation, information, software, computer code, including source code or object code, services, text, pictures, information, data, sound files, other files, and the selection and arrangement thereof collectively, the materials are protected by relevant intellectual property and proprietary rights and laws. All materials are the property of Twitch or its subsidiaries or affiliated companies and or third-party licensors. Unless otherwise expressly stated in writing by Twitch, by agreeing to these terms of service, you are granted a limited, non-sublicensable, and non-transferable license, i.e., a personal and limited right to access and use the Twitch services for your personal use or internal business use only. All right, I'm going to stop there just because this is a longer section and break down each paragraph. So this one is stating what Twitch owns, right? So Twitch owns the Twitch owns the Twitch services, but it also owns, whether itself or some third party. Like, you do not own any of the Twitch trademarks, any of the other stuff that is appearing on Twitch. Everything on Twitch that is not user content, as outlined in the section that we haven't gone over yet, is owned by Twitch or someone else that is not you, period. And you have a limited, non-sublicensable, non-transferable license to access and use that stuff that is not yours. right? So you don't own this stuff. You have a license, which is a personal and limited right, and you can't give that personal limited right to someone else, right? You can allow someone to use your account, and they'll be bound by the services, but you can't transfer your like account like wholly and say like, oh, this account now belongs to, if I'm person X, I want to give my account to person Q. Okay, so X gives account to person Q, and now Q does something bad. Well, I transferred the account to person Q, so Q's the only person at fault. Oh, no, 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 no. You guys are like the person Q. If you gave them access to your account or your password, then they became bound by those rules, but it's still your account. And so once they broke those rules, which they were bound by, you are still getting the stick of the law. And the law will still strike you down and say, no, 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 it's yours. So you have limited access, or you can use, so you are granted, yeah, basically a limited license where you can access and use it personally for personal or business. That's it. Paragraph 2. Twitch reserves all rights not expressly granted in these terms of service. This license is subject to these terms of service and does not permit you to engage in any of the following. So you're not permitted to engage in any of these actions, or your license can be taken away to use Twitch. A. Resale or commercial use of the Twitch services or the materials. B. Distribution, public performance, or public display of any materials. C. Modifying or otherwise making any derivative uses of the Twitch services or the materials, or any portion of them. D. Use of any data mining, robots, or similar data gathering or extraction methods. E. Downloading, except page caching of any portion of the Twitch services, the materials, or any information contained in them except as expressly permitted on the Twitch services. Or F. Any use of the Twitch services or the materials except for their intended purposes. Any use of the Twitch services or the materials except as specifically authorized in these terms of service without the prior written permission of Twitch is strictly prohibited and may violate intellectual property rights or other laws. Unless explicitly stated in these terms of service, nothing in them shall be interpreted as conferring any license to intellectual property rights, whether by estoppel, implication, or other legal principles. Twitch can terminate this license as set out in Section 17. So, this is the first part. The first paragraph laid out exactly like what the license is, and then this is basically what the license, how the license can be taken away, what it doesn't permit you to do, which is basically to use, to try and like you're allowed to make use of the platform the way it was intended, which is to be a platform where you can put up yourself and your content, stand up, on a soapbox, if you will, and have your say and see if you can draw a crowd to you who wants to listen to you on top of your soapbox. But if you can't try to sell the platform itself, you can't sell off the platform itself or any of the materials on the platform, or try to use those in your act, or to use their materials as your materials. You can't modify them to try, change them or make some sort of derivative use of them, except, as, or to whatever extent that they meant to be used that way, that's the only ways that you can use Twitch services or materials. And if you don't, they might violate laws. Certainly violates this contract, and then Twitch can terminate your license. Number 8, user content. Twitch allows you to distribute streaming live and pre-recorded audio-visual works. I'll say that one more time. Twitch allows you to distribute streaming live and pre-recorded audio-visual works, to use services such as chat, bulletin boards, forum postings, wiki contributions, and voice interactive services, and to participate in other activities in which you may create, post, transmit, perform, or store content. Messages, text, sound, images, applications, code, or other data or materials on the Twitch services user content. Okay. License to Twitch. Unless Part A is licensed to Twitch. This is another long section among long sections. Ooh, excuse me. That's A. So I'm going to read these aloud. All right. Unless otherwise agreed to in a written agreement between you and Twitch that was signed by an authorized representative of Twitch, if you submit, transmit, display, perform, post, or store user content using the Twitch services, you grant Twitch and its sub-licensees, to the furthest extent and for the maximum duration permitted by applicable law, an unrestricted, worldwide, irrevocable, fully sublicensable, non-exclusive, and royalty-free right to forgive me, guys. To use, reproduce, modify, adapt. I gotta read that again. License to Twitch. Number I. Unless otherwise agreed to in a written agreement between you and Twitch that was signed by an authorized representative of Twitch, if you submit, transmit, display, perform, post, or store user content using the Twitch services, you grant Twitch and its sub-licensees, to the furthest extent and the maximum duration permitted by applicable law, including in perpetuity if permitted under applicable law, an unrestricted, worldwide, irrevocable, fully sublicensable, non-exclusive, and royalty-free right to use, reproduce, modify, adapt, publish, translate, create derivative works from, distribute, perform, and display such user content, including without limitation for promoting and redistributing part or all of the Twitch services, and derivative works thereof in any form, format, media, or media channels now known or later developed or discovered. And B, use the name, identity, likeness, and voice or other biographical information that you submit in connection with such user content. Twitch can exercise these rights in connection with monetizing the Twitch services. Should such user content contain name, identity, likeness, and voice of third parties, you represent and warrant that you have obtained the appropriate consent and or licenses for your use of such features, and that Twitch and its sub-licensees are allowed to use them to the extent indicated in these terms of service. So basically, Twitch, any content that you use on their platform is fair game for them to use in connection with monetizing their services. Like in order to like they can use your content or make derivatives of that content or your work. They can license it to other people. They can sub-license it to other people. They don't have to worry about paying you royalties for the content that you've published. They can use clips of content you've published to make advertisements for Twitch. They without needing to pay you, etc. And again, this still sounds quite boilerplate, even though it might sound more extreme to like those who don't know. But you get the sense that most platforms that are this strong, that are this big, that are this popular, I should say. I don't want to say strong or big, but a platform that's this popular will tend to do these kinds of things because they can afford to. There's simply, like, to an extent, no real need for them to pay someone royalties for like using their content to advertise, because they prefer to advertise with such a variety of content rather than just one individual. And to try and, royalty out each ad would just be a waste. And they want to make as much ad money as they can, etc. I'm not going to go into what the logic behind this is, or I shouldn't. I'm just going to try to stick to this. But bottom line is, my college, I went to law school at Pepperdine University, Pepperdine Caruso School of Law. And after you've been admitted, like part of the signatures that you had to fill out and sign in order to, actually enter into the class of that upcoming year, there was one checkbox which allowed the school to use my name, image, and likeness in like any sort of ad materials, basically, that they came up with. And sure enough, I want to say a couple weeks later, maybe a couple months later, I would see myself on a couple posters. I think I was online. I was on their Instagram feed at one time, etc. So it's just kind of all fair game to them, and so that's what the contract is. So we continue moving forward. Part 2. With respect to user content known as add-ons, maps, mods, or other types of projects submitted through CurseForge.com or similar sites, the submitted projects, the rights granted by you here under terminate once you remove or delete such submitted projects from the Twitch services. You also acknowledge that Twitch may retain, but not display, distribute, or perform server copies of submitted projects that have been removed or deleted. Interesting. I'm not too familiar with add-ons, maps, and mods. I know what maps are. Like user-created maps, user content. I don't know how that. I'm more familiar with this in video game terminology than with Twitch. So I'm wondering if it's having like the add-ons of video games, or if Twitch users are streaming, playing an add-on or something. I'll need more information there, but we'll keep it moving. But whatever the case is with these add-ons, it seems that you have like certain rights that protect you or your add-on, your submitted projects from like Twitch use, and that once you delete or you remove those projects from Twitch, Twitch can retain server copies of those projects, but not display, distribute, or perform them. So, which is, I guess, would just be so that they can learn from them if they think, a project's done really well. It's like, hey, like, allow us to keep a copy of that. You can take the whole thing, but you get to keep a copy. So I guess mostly important if you have important IP, intellectual property, that is a map or a mod or an add-on, because just because they can't use it doesn't mean that they can't look at it and now know. Part 3. With respect to streaming live and pre-recorded audio-visual works, the rights granted by you hereunder terminate once you delete such user content from the Twitch services, or generally by closing your account, except A, to the extent you shared it with others as part of the Twitch services, and others copied or stored portions of the user content, made a clip. B, Twitch used it for promotional purposes. C, for the reasonable time it takes to remove from backup, for the reasonable time it takes to remove from backup and other systems. Or D, Twitch is required by applicable law to retain it. So that says any content that you've put out, the rights that Twitch services has to use that content in any way, shape, or form, or in the many ways that it says above, those rights die, or those rights terminate, except unless, like, if someone has clipped, or so if someone else has clipped or saved clips of, or like made downloads of your video, then even if you delete your account, like the person that downloaded it has that downloaded, and so that download can still be, or like that copy can be used by Twitch still. So if a user makes a clip of a video of a stream, Twitch, and you delete your account, Twitch can still use that clip. Or if Twitch seems to have already used your content or some of your content for advertising or to promote themselves, then they can keep using that. And it's also quite vague, but they say for the reasonable time it takes to remove from backup and other systems, because like it may take a reasonable amount of time to remove your content after you've deleted your account or deleted your content from Twitch or closed your account. It can take a reasonable amount of time to remove that information from backup in other systems. So, fair, I suppose. I don't know too much about that. B, user contents, representations, and warranties. You are solely responsible for your user content and the consequences of posting or publishing it. You represent and warrant that 1, you are the creator or own or control all rights in and to the user content. You represent and warrant that 1, you are the creator or own or control all rights in and to the user content, or otherwise have sufficient rights and authority to grant the rights guaranteed herein. 2, your user content does not and will not A, infringe, violate, or misappropriate any third-party right, including any copyright, trademark, patent, trade secret, moral right, privacy right, right of publicity, or any other intellectual property or proprietary right, or B, defame any other person. Three, your user content does not contain any viruses, adware, spyware, worms, or other harmful or malicious code. Four, unless you have received prior written authorization, your user content specifically does not contain any pre-release or non-public beta software or game content or any confidential information of Twitch or third parties. Twitch reserves all rights and remedies against any user who breaches these representations and warranties. So you're responsible for the consequences of the things you post or publish, and by publishing it, you're basically saying you were in control, or you had granted authority to someone to rightfully publish it. That the content doesn't infringe, violate, or misappropriate any third-party right, one of which includes moral right. I've never heard. I don't quite know what moral right is. Right, a privacy right, because like the other things are legal rights, but a moral right isn't like a legal right. Right of publicity, I suppose, is just the right to just like post like content on this platform, even if perhaps it's a bit controversial, as long as it falls within, it seems, these terms and or guidelines. But a moral right or any other intellectual property or proprietary right, yeah, the rest, that's just a very strange one to me. I'm going to need to email them about that. All right. And you want that it doesn't contain any viruses, adware, spyware, worms, or other harmful or malicious code. Like, I wonder if that means, though, if your computer happens to get like hacked or something like what you do, because then it's like I suppose it's mostly supposed to mean that you are not purposely putting out content that has, viruses or worms or malicious adware in it that's gonna mess with other people's computers. So just, be not a jerk. Don't be a jerk. Part C. Content is uploaded at your own risk. Twitch uses reasonable security measures in order to attempt to protect user content against unauthorized copying and distribution. However, Twitch does not guarantee that any unauthorized copying, use, or distribution of user content by third parties will not take place. To the furthest extent permitted by applicable law, you hereby agree that Twitch shall not be liable for any unauthorized copying, use, or distribution of user content by third parties, and release and forever waive any claims you may have against Twitch for such unauthorized copying or usage of the user content under any theory. To the extent permitted by applicable law, the security measures to protect user content used by Twitch herein are provided and used as is, and with no warranties, guarantees, conditions, assurances, or other terms that such security measures will withstand attempts to evade security mechanisms, or that there will be no cracks, disablement, or other circumvention of such security measures. It's just like, which is more to say, And I wouldn't think too hard on the legal part of this because a lot of this is boilerplate language too, and boilerplate means like this is normal language. This is what normal contracts tend to say, even though it sounds quite harsh. But they're saying, look, we're going to try and keep our platform protected from copying and distribution, of your stuff. But it might happen, and like we're gonna do our best, but like you can't be holding that against us. Like we're a platform, we have hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of users on at different times. It's a lot of people to monitor, and like we're doing our best, and because it's in our best interest. Because if it gets out of hand, the copying and unauthorized distribution, then we'll be in trouble anyway. Like we'll just lose users, but we can't. Users can't sue them for that under any theory. So they're like, we're gonna try our best, but don't come after us. You upload it at your own risk. Promotions. Users may promote, administer, or conduct a promotion, ergo a contest or sweepstakes, on, through, or utilizing the Twitch services of promotion, provided that if you choose to do so, you must adhere to the following rules. You may carry out promotions to the extent permitted by applicable law, and you are solely responsible for ensuring that any promotions comply with any and all applicable laws, obligations, and restrictions. 2. You will be classified as the promoter of your promotion in the applicable jurisdictions, and you will be solely responsible for all aspects of and expenses related to your promotion, including, without limitation, the execution, administration, and operation of the promotion, drafting and posting any official rules, selecting winners, issuing prizes, and obtaining all necessary third-party information and approvals, including, without limitation, filing any and all necessary registrations and bonds. Twitch has the right to remove your promotion from the Twitch services if Twitch reasonably believes that your promotion does not comply with the terms of service or applicable law. 3. Twitch is not responsible for and does not endorse or support any such promotions. You may not indicate that Twitch is a sponsor or a co-sponsor of the promotion. And 4. You will display or read out the following disclaimer when promoting, administering, or conducting a promotion. This is a promotion by blank. Twitch does not sponsor or endorse this promotion and is not responsible for it. Okay. So if you're going to do a promotion, which is like a contest or a sweepstakes, basically that what this really is saying is that there are outside laws that apply to anyone who offers up a promotion, like on TV. If you advertise that, the first 100 people in the lobby of or who come to your store get 50% off or get 90% off. If you do a promotion like that, or you do a sweepstakes or a competition where it's a raffle of some type, those have outside legal. There are laws that apply to those situations, like specifically just to offering a promotion. So if you're going to do one, the point is like, then you are going to be classified as the promoter, not Twitch. Twitch is not the one promoting. Twitch doesn't endorse or promote or sponsor anyone else but itself. And if you're going to promote and do a promotion, the outside, like the state and federal laws, those are the ones that like you're gonna need to like look at in terms of making sure you comply. If you don't If you aren't complying or Twitch feels like you're not complying, they will shut that down, and you must disclaim. You must read out a disclaimer anytime you do a promotion. And the disclaimer that you must read is this, in these words exactly. This is a promotion by your name. This is a promotion by yours truly. Cole Byrne is my name, so I will tell you. This is a promotion by Cole Byrne. Forgive me, I should have told you before. My name is Cole Byrne Pittman. They call me Mustachio because I wear a mustache. I don't have one, but I wear one because I like mustaches. And my facial hair grows like a cat. Get whiskers. It's moving on. Right, this is a promotion by Cole Byrne. Twitch does not sponsor or endorse this promotion and is not responsible for it. Bang, bang. Part E, political activity. Subject to these terms of service and the community guidelines, you may share political opinions, participate in political activity, provide links to a political committee's official website, including the contribution page of a political committee, and solicit viewers to make contributions directly to a political committee. You agree, however, that these activities are entirely your own. Moreover, by engaging in these activities, you represent and warrant that you are eligible to engage in them under applicable laws, and that you will abide by all relevant laws and regulations while doing so. You agree not to solicit the use of or use any Twitch monetization tool, ergo bits or subs, subscriptions that is, for the purpose of making or delivering a contribution to a candidate's committee, political action committee, ballot committee, or any other campaign committee, or otherwise for the purpose of influencing any election. Candidates for political office are not eligible to use any Twitch monetization tool on their channels. So, like, you can share political opinions and you can like link people to politics in real life or political websites, etc., political content. But that's a you thing, that is not a Twitch thing. And if you do that, that's entirely your own doing. And you agree not to use any of the Twitch monetization for what seems like the explicit purpose. What I mean by explicit purpose, like for the exact purpose of making or delivering like money to a candidate or some candidate's like election in any like direct sort of capacity. So you can't use bits or subs from Twitch to fund a campaign. You just can't do it. You can do a promotion specifically for that like links people to like a campaign's page or to campaign events, something like that. But that's it. We're not here to help campaigns make money. Is the point, babe. Number 9, branded content. Twitch recognizes that some users collaborate with brands and may publish branded content, which is any user content featuring, using, discussing, or promoting products, services, or specific content exchanged for something of value, such as being paid or provided with goods or services. Branded content includes, without limitation, paid product placements, endorsements, and sponsorships. Twitch allows you to publish branded content using the Twitch services, provided that your branded content complies with these terms of service and applicable law. If you choose to publish branded content on the Twitch service, you agree to use Twitch's branded content tool, which provides written discourse to viewers that your live stream contains branded content. In addition, you agree that you are solely responsible for ensuring that your branded content complies with any and all applicable advertising laws, regulations, and guidelines, including, without limitation, the U.S. Federal Trade Commission's guidelines, the advertising guidelines. For example, if you have been paid or provided with free products in exchange for discussing or promoting a product or service through the Twitch services, or if you are an employee of a company and you discuss or promote the company's products or services through the Twitch services, you agree to comply with the advertising guidelines requirements for disclosing such relationships to indicate the commercial nature of the branded content. Okay, so Twitch says, yo, some of you guys are getting sponsored, are getting endorsements, are putting out content that you're being paid, like, or you're getting some sort of value, like exchange of value for putting out the content that you're putting, not just from the Twitch website, but like some outside source is paying you to do these, to put out this content. That's totally fine, but if you're gonna do that, you gotta use their branded content tool, which basically does the simplifies the process of making sure you do the right disclosures that you need to under the U.S. Federal Trade Commission's guidelines, right, which is federal law. So in federal law, there's certain ways that you must tell the public that you're getting paid to advertise this. It's similar to how on commercials, at the bottom of the screen, you will see with commercials at the bottom of the screen, you'll see a line of text that will disclaim, side effects, for instance, etc. And sometimes it can, in this case, it might say something like, the person making this video was like this is paid advertising. Or I'm forgetting the specific terminology that they use, the specific words they use, but it lets the people watching know that the person is getting paid to promote this, and doesn't just put it on the user itself or the video creator themselves to say just out loud, hey, I'm getting paid to sell this. So helps the users, and it's federal law, and the federal law applies at the end of the day. So you also kind of need to know the U.S. Federal Trade Commission's guidelines. Not kind of, you do need to know them. And that is something that I will hold on to, because that is something I want to do research on later. All right. We will do this. Ooh-wee. All right, we're coming up on the hour mark, so I think we're going to pause for today. We've gotten about halfway through. Looking quite good, and I'll be coming out with a part 2 next. Or do I want to get to the end of this first? I'll come out with part 2 next. That'll give me time to look over the first one and put the two together. But okay, signing off. This is Colburn Pittman. This is Colburn Mustachio. This is Mustachio. And these are the terms and conditions. I am Samani. Peace.